HTG crew. HTG crew. We're back, baby. Another week of golf. We're coming off of the ZURICH Classic, which, again, if you guys watched, was the team event. You'll notice I got the old Invisalign in, so if you catch me with a little bit of a lisp, yeah, that's why. So you're not going crazy. Nothing really is like, yeah, you are hearing that, and I got these bad boys in. Oh shit. Ah. Yeah. Not ideal, but I got to keep these puppies in 22 hours a day, so that means you guys get to listen to me lisp a little bit on the podcast for the next few months. So lucky you guys. Also lucky Cam Smith and Mark Leishman coming off of the win at the ZURICH, a team that we did mention as a top shelf play last week. I mean, the Aussies just usually seem to have great chemistry with one another. They're familiar playing with each other in the President's Cup. Just a good fit all around. That playoff between Leishman and Smith, and they were in that playoff with Oosthuizen and Charles Schwartzel. Pretty anticlimactic off the bat when Louis went ahead and dumped his tee shot into the water in the alternate shot format that they played on Sunday. So, yeah, Louis pretty much took his team out of the running there off the tee on the first playoff hole, the par 5 18th, but still got a little bit of drama there at the end. For it being the for it being the ZURICH, yeah, some good drama on a Sunday that was maybe not expected. Some good Sunday golf. So I like that the PGA Tour mixes it up at least a little bit occasionally with the formats. The two-man teams at the ZURICH, not necessarily my favorite. They could probably get a little more creative than that. It feels like a watered-down version of Ryder Cup play. But, hey, it's better than nothing. It's better than, going to the same old, medal play, tournament stroke play every single week. So gotta at least applaud the tour for getting a little bit different over the last 3 years at the ZURICH and trying out a new sort of format for a golf event. They should keep looking at trying to do that because the PGA Tour has a lot of potential to pick up young fans if they can just make not fuck themselves over, literally. Like if they can just make the game and the broadcasts accessible to younger crowds, golf's becoming a favorite to bet, right? It's one of the reasons why we have the podcast here at HTG. It is a really becoming a betting favorite. It's being sports betting, and even like daily fantasy sports are being integrated into broadcasts and into content that's being posted on PGA Tour affiliated websites. So golf's in a really, really promising place, and all they have to do is not fuck it up. And sometimes I don't trust the PGA Tour to not fuck it up. Such a conservative body sometimes that I think it works against them. But, yeah, a lot of opportunity for golf to really take the reins as a premier sport, premier American sport, really surrounded around the booming market of sports betting and golf attracting a lot of that market. So the ZURICH also, had its fair share of betting opportunities. There were some really interesting live betting opportunities after Thursday, given that, in a 4-ball event, or 4-ball rounds as they played on Thursday and Saturday, you're going to see some people be able to go really low when you have a best ball situation with these pros. So ZURICH offers some interesting betting opportunities, and because of that, I like that the PGA Tour does mix it up a little bit and, try to get fans however you can. So I'm with that. Well, with that, we'll leave the ZURICH behind us. It's, one of those strange events on tour. They kind of put it in the same sort of boat as it's like a souped up version of like the Barracuda or something where they go to Stableford scoring. It's like a week where the guys on tour can feel like they're doing something different, but the field is a lot more classed up in the ZURICH, a lot more, premier talent in the ZURICH. So just sort of one of those types of weeks. In the meantime, we're going to fire up another Bruce Banner joint. White Cloudz is the grower. This is a hybrid. If you remember, I smoked this for the ZURICH. Tests at 22.13% THC. So we will be firing this bad boy up for the Valspar this week. So let me spark this up. I'm going to get a little sip to drink, and then we'll get into the Valspar, an event that we got a pretty nice field, and we might need to rename this event the Paul Casey Open. And after I spark up, I'll let you know why. My roommate actually mentioned I should add some like smoke break music when I'm smoking to signal to you, the HTG crew, that it's time to spark up and take a smoke break. So I think I might have to do that. Be on the lookout for some new music, maybe a new intro, maybe some smoke break interludes. We're gonna try and mix it up before we get to the PGA Championship. Which, remember, guys, got something in the works for Sunday at the PGA Championship. So have that one marked off your calendar. I believe it's May the 23rd is that Sunday at the PGA Championship. You guys are going to want to join me for this one. Okay, the Valspar Championship. As I mentioned, it should be renamed the Paul Casey Open. It is played at Innisbrook Resort. We're playing on the Copperhead course at Innisbrook. It's in Palm Harbor, Florida. Course plays at a par 71, 7,340 yards. We're on Bermuda greens. Should be renamed the Paul Casey Open because he's played this event twice and he won it both times. Paul Casey looking to three-peat here at this event. An unbelievably rare accomplishment, a three-peat on the PGA Tour. Casey won the event at 8 under last year. 8 players have three-peated at a single tournament before, or it's happened 8 times, I should say. 6 of those times are Tiger Woods. The other 2 times, I believe someone did it at Century Tournament of Champions. And then Steve Stricker did it at, where was it that Stricker won 3 times in a row? Stricker did it at the John Deere from 2009 to 2011, and it was Stuart Appleby that won the Century Tournament of Champions three times in a row from 2004 to 2006. So Paul Casey looking to join some pretty rarefied air there if he's able to pull it off, and he would be the first European player to pull it off on the PGA Tour. So Paul Casey chasing some history this week, and it makes sense when you take a look at this golf course why Casey has so much success here. It really is a perfect setup for him. So Innisbrook, the Copperhead course, last time we played it, during Casey's victory in 2019, the green and regulation percentage on field average was 54.1%. That was the lowest of any greens and regulation percentage average on tour all season. Of any golf course they played in 2019, fewer greens were hit on average at the Copperhead course at Innisbrook than any other golf course. So that tells us 2 things that are going to be extremely important to us this week, and things that Casey does very well, which makes sense why Paul Casey has so much success here. We want players that are very strong on approach. Like we need, from long to mid irons, we need players that are stellar on approach, that are going to gain greens in regulation. They're going to outpace the field on opportunities gained, right? Strokes gained approach. This is what Paul Casey does extremely well. And given that, these greens have proven very difficult to hit, arguably the most difficult on tour, intuition suggests, and it does pan out when you look at the stats, that you want players that are strong on approach. Outside of that, I mean, when the green and regulation percentage is just 54.1%, I don't care how good you are on approach, you are not going to be able to come close to hitting all of these greens. There are plenty of greens that are going to be missed out there this week amongst this field, so you're going to need to be really good at scrambling, getting up and down, being very solid around the green. So that's how you land on a player like Paul Casey. The combination of stellar approach game with really deft touch on and around the greens. And that is the recipe for success here. So not too complicated as far as trying to figure out what types of golfers will be great fits around Copperhead, and that has me really excited for this week. It's a very, concentrated skill set that we're looking at, and there are some values all the way across the board, from the top shelf to the mid shelf to the swag bag. I guess I don't know how much you could call top shelf plays a value. You're paying over $10,000 for them, but I mean, there are certainly some guys that are going a little bit lower owned than I would have expected, given the skill set that they're bringing to this golf course. And I really like the prospects this week, HTG crew, because we have a very, very focused skill set that we're looking at here. The other thing to note about Copperhead course at Innisbrook is we do get some pretty difficult par threes this week, all playing at around 200 yards, a little north of 200 yards. We have 4 of them. So I've also gone ahead and thrown some par 3 scoring into the model. Because these holes, they are some of the more difficult holes on the golf course as far as it played in 2019. So if you can have success on these about 200 and 210 yard par 3s, which we'll have 4 of this week, then I really like your prospects on the week. It's sort of a cherry on top statistic that we're going to take a look at to help us make some tie-breaking decisions between a lot of players that look pretty good. So with that, our statistical model or golfer prototype, what we went ahead and threw into our fantasynational.com mixed condition model. Strokes gained approach, again, you're going to need to be great on approach this week. Opportunities gained, so seeing not only how good you are on approach, but how many opportunities you're giving yourself at some short birdie looks. Strokes gained around the green, again, as I mentioned, when you're looking at the field not hitting many greens in regulation, you're going to have to be really good at getting up and down and have that deft touch around the green. Good drives gained. You don't necessarily need to be long off the tee here, but it's another one of those golf courses where you need to set up the angles to give yourself the best opportunity on approach to go ahead and hit the green. You're definitely going to want to play the angles of this golf course because the greens are difficult to hit as it is. And if you're coming in from a tough angle, I mean, good luck. So good drives gained, we'll certainly take a look at. Again, I mentioned we sprinkled in par 3 scoring on par 3s 200 to 225 yards. Again, we'll get 4 of those holes this week. And I added in a little bit of stroke gained putting, as we customarily do here at the HTG podcast. And yeah, that player really does, that screams Paul Casey to me already when I'm looking at it, right? A guy who's going to be stellar with those irons and on approach. Can not necessarily super long off the tee, but can, present himself the correct angles on approach, and then has a good around the green game for when, some greens are missed. Yeah, that screams Casey, and there are a few other players in this field that it screams. My winner screams all of these things. My winner can be found in the mid-shelf plays. So go ahead and drop in the comments there on YouTube who you think my winner of the 2021 Valspar Championship is. Some withdrawals to go over this week because we actually have a lot of them and they're pretty important. Terrell Hatton being the most important, was looking like a very good play, but he is withdrawn due to COVID. Will Gordon has withdrawn, so has Bryce Garnett and Sepp Straka. I mean, all guys that were decently viable. Especially Hatton was someone that I was looking hard at, but again, it's Terrell Hatton, Will Gordon, Bryce Garnett, and Sepp Straka as our withdrawals. And with that, we can get into the top shelf plays. I need to respark my joint here, my Bruce Banner. Get a little bit more to drink. I'm drinking some strawberry banana body armor. That shit is so good. And then we can get into our top shelf plays. So hold on one sec. Actually, let me blow my nose real quick. First time blowing my nose on stream. Innovative podcasting right here. Don't know anyone else blowing their nose on stream. Maybe if I can get an editor one of these days, I can edit that shit out. But for the time being, You all are just going to have to watch me blow my nose on stream. But that's okay, because I pay it off with picks, baby. The first of those picks being in the top shelf plays $10,000 or more in DraftKings salary. It's Patrick Piggy Reed. $10,300 price tag, 9.5% projected ownership. Piggy, not necessarily, like, he's a pretty streaky ball striker. So doesn't check all of the boxes from a ball striking perspective, but I just really like his around the green game, as well as the course history. And I know that Patrick Reed is one of the class players in this field. Reed actually coming in at 45th in the custom model, but he comes in 6th in strokes gained putting and 19th in strokes gained around the green. 43rd in strokes gained approach, just slightly better than field average in this field, but 103rd on good drives. So Reed with the ball striking, again, can get really streaky. If he's got it going, then he's going to keep it going. And, I trust almost no one in this field to be better around the greens than Patrick Reed, around and on the greens, I should say, than Patrick Reed. So even though the model doesn't love him, Reed's someone that I personally just needed to star because, looking at this golf course, it seems like a good fit, especially if he comes in striking the ball well. And his tournament history, shows that he has plenty of upside here. While he was cut last year, he came T2 in 2018, T38 in 2017, T7 in 2016, and T2 in 2015. So 2 top 2 finishes in his last five years here. Yeah, love Piggy Reed, $10,300, and I especially like that we're getting him at single-digit projected ownership at 9.5%. So first top shelf play that I like is Patrick Reed. The second and last top shelf play I like, and it's no surprise probably that we're going after the guy looking for the three-peat, Mr. Paul Casey. And Casey, I'm surprised with his projected ownership. Casey coming in at a $10,000 flat price tag, 14.1% projected ownership. I thought that was going to be higher, particularly because I don't love the top shelf. You could look to JT up at that $11,500 price tag. Feels a bit rich to me. JT also struggling in that good drives gained category, but obviously a guy who he leads this field in approach. He's always live. He's other than DJ, the best player in this field. So for JT and DJ, based on pedigree alone, you could look to pay up for them at 11.5 and 11.2 respectively, but I'm not in love with them this week. Victor Hovland, the ball striking is everything you want to see, but around the green is really where his game seems to struggle, and like this young in his career, this early in his career, and it's something that I expect he'll improve on, but for the time being, just not really a perfect fit for me. So those top 3 guys are off the board for me, and with that being said, Casey's really where the eye's drawn. He's won this event back-to-back years. He is a perfect fit, coming in 5th in the custom model, 4th on approach, 22nd in putting, 45th in opportunities gained, 61st in good drives gained, 7th in that par 3 range, 200 to 225 yards, and 23rd around the green. Casey checking all the boxes, including, of course, tournament history. So I love Paul Casey. I'm sure the back-to-back wins here might be scaring some people away. Casey also wasn't great when we last saw him play. I believe we were rostering him, as a matter of fact, back at the RBC Heritage. Yeah, he missed the cut at RBC Heritage. Whatever. Long-term, Casey looks really good, actually. In his last 5 events, he's gained 3.5 strokes on approach, 5.4 strokes tee to green on average, so I'll excuse the lackluster performance at Heritage, where he lost 1.1 strokes tee to green, and most of that he lost around the green, lost 1.2 strokes around the green. And that is the first time that Paul Casey had lost strokes around the green in his last 5 measured events. So not something that we expect to be a regular occurrence for Casey. I expect him to bounce back in the around the green statistic category. And yeah, I expect him to be a great play this week at that $10,000 flat price tag, 14.1% projected ownership. And he could certainly challenge for the three-peat here. That'd be really cool to see. And even though he isn't my pick to win this week, I would love to see Paul Casey go 3 for 3 here at the Valspar. And yeah, as I mentioned, those are my only 2 top shelf plays. I don't like the top of the board as much this week, paying up for them. I'd rather spend my money here in the $9,000 range, get some high-tier players in the mid-shelf. So yeah, Paul Casey rounds out our top shelf plays, which will move us to our mid-shelf plays, where my winner sits. So again, drop in the YouTube comments who you think my winner is for the 2021 Valspar Championship here in the mid-shelf plays. Mid-shelf plays are $7,500 or more in DraftKings pricing. The first mid-shelf play. God, a kid I love. I wanted to pick him to win the event. He's making his debut. I'm not entirely sure how the course fit's going to be. Mr. Scotty Scheffler, $9,800 price tag, 10.5% projected ownership. Scheffler, unbelievable iron player this young man is. I keep mentioning, guys, he is a player to keep your eye on. He will just continue to rise. His stock will continue to rise. Watch it happen. Kid's a stud. Coming in third in the custom model, 31st on approach, 87th with the putter, so going to need to show some upside there on the greens, but 19th in opportunities gained, 47th in good drives gained, 6th in that par 3 range, 200 to 225 yards, and 7th around the green, so bringing that stellar around the green game to help out with the approach numbers. Really like Scheffler this week, only 10.5% projected ownership. These first three players I've mentioned, Reed, Casey, and Scheffler, the ownership really surprises me how low it is at 9.5 for Reed, 14.1 for Casey, and 10.5 for Scheffler. These are surprising numbers. I think you definitely jump on these guys. They deserve more ownership than they're getting because all the ownership seems to be concentrating to these guys just below Scheffler from the mid $9,000 up into that mid to high $8,000 range is where all the ownership's sitting. So these next about 5-6 plays that I rattle off for the mid shelf, you're gonna realize that these are some pretty high owned guys. So we have some decisions to make as far as our roster construction goes. I do really like the outlook of these guys that are priced here in the mid $9,000 to mid $8,000 range, but you're gonna also have to couple that decision with projected ownership. So I like starting your lineup with one of these guys, close to single-digit ownership, like a Reed or a Scheffler, and that way, you're getting a little bit different off the bat, and then you can go with a little more chalk in the mid-9 to mid-8K range, and then maybe find a little bit something different down in the SCHWAG bag. And that's a good sort of like balanced build, right, where you have a couple of lower-owned pieces that still present a lot of upside, and then you're taking the plays that look like, relative slam dunks or chalk plays here in the mid 9K and mid 8K range. So just a little bit of strategy to talk before I start getting into these quote unquote chalk plays that are carrying some high ownership. The first one of these high owned plays, and this kid's been on fire, Kent State's own pride and joy, Mr. Corey Connors, $9,600 price tag, 21.1% projected ownership. Connors does everything but putt it well, and he's been doing that well lately too. So, if this kid continues to be a, neutral to positive putter as he's been lately, he's going to keep finding himself in the top 10. And there's nothing else that can really be said about that. Now, the one thing you do worry about with Connors on this golf course is around the green. Corey Connors he's not all that good. A guy who can certainly make up for that with his strokes gained approach numbers. This guy is an unbelievable ball striker, but if you did have to nitpick Connors for this golf course, it would be his around the green numbers. He also is coming in poorly in the par 3 range, 200, 225 yards, but again, I'm using that more as a tiebreaker. I'm not going to allow, a poor recent performance on par 3s in this range walk me off of a guy who's been hitting the ball as well as Corey Connors has. Coming in 14th in the custom model, 6th on approach, 18th in putting, 31st in opportunities gained, 3rd in good drives gained, but then 126th in that par 3 range and 95th around the green. Those are our concerns, but this kid's been hitting the ball so well that honestly, $9,600 might feel like an underpricing. He's been hitting the ball so well, and he's had the results to back it up too. Like, it's not like he's just like some stats darling who's not really paying it off on the golf course. His last 5 finishes are 4th, 8th, 14th, 7th, and 3rd. So this guy Corey Connors is getting it done, and he's paying off his DraftKings salary week after week, and I do like him again. I did mention, though, this is, the chalk zone, 21.1% projected ownership. I mean, Connors looks like he's worth it this week, but you're going to have to make your own decisions and find ways to get different so that your Corey Connors lineups don't look like everyone else's Corey Connors lineups. But Connors, $9,600, 21.1% projected ownership. Certainly looking like a strong play. Let me get a little more water. And blow my nose again. These allergy season, folks. They're killing me. Little body armor. And we're back at it. So, following Mr. Connors, our next play is Abraham Answer, $9,300 price tag, 17% projected ownership, coming in 6th in the custom model, 13th on approach, 79th with the putter, 49th in opportunities gained, 5th in good drives gained, 14th in the par 3 range, but 73rd around the green. So, Answer definitely provides more upside around the green than that. He has flashed with some around the green performances, but all in all, like long term, pretty neutral player around the green. Nothing spectacular. One of those flashes that I mentioned, WGC Mexico back in February, gained 6.6 strokes around the green. Gaining 6.6 strokes around the green, not something you probably typically want to be doing, because it probably means that you were, not that great either off the tee or on approach, or both. But at least it shows that Answer does have the capability to flash in this statistic. And if he does, everything else pans out to the point that he's looking like a very solid play at this $9,300 price tag. Again, 17% projected ownership. These guys in this pricing range here, you're not going to get any of them sub 15%. It's crazy. I mean, they stacked so much talent and so many good plays into this pricing range that all the ownership's following. And Abraham Answer is no different. Damn, this thing keeps going out. To the next chalk play here in the mid $9,000 to low or mid $8,000 range. Russell Henley is priced at $9,000 flat, 18.8% projected ownership. Henley coming in 7th in the custom model, 12th on approach, 30th in putting, 10th in opportunities gained, 25th in good drives gained, 124th in that par 3 range, and 46th around the green. So Henley doing everything good. I mean, around the green game, fine enough here lately. That par 3 range, of course, is the struggle. But as I mentioned earlier with Connors, I'm not going to let a recent struggle over the last 12 measured rounds on that par 3 range steer me away from Henley, given just how good everything else is. Again, I'm using that sort of as a tiebreaker. So Henley looking really good as another member of this chalk zone pricing range at $9,000 flat, 18.8% projected ownership. And Henley came T9 here in 2017, so that's sort of the upside we're looking at. Made 2 of his last 3 cuts here. Yeah, looking like a solid play this week. But the next guy, who is also a member of the chalk zone, is also my winner this week. Hit him with the crack, the Kokrak, Mr. Jason Kokrak. $8,700 price tag, 22% projected ownership. Hurt my soul when I saw it. Like shit. Saw Kokrak, how he rated out. I was like, this is the guy. Love me some Kokrak this week. And then, of course, I see that he is projected to be maybe the highest owned player on the entire slate, as a matter of fact. Let me take a look. Wow, no shit, he is. Unbelievable. Yep. Corey Connors, the second highest owned projected player on the slate at 21.1. But yeah, Kokrak, 22%. He is my winner. I mean, he's like Paul Casey light as far as how he rates out. Like, and not even that worse, to be honest with you. Kokrak coming in 16th in the custom model, 22nd on approach, 29th in putting, 1st in opportunities gained, 99th in good drives gained. That's where Casey has the advantage. 55th in that par 3 range and 22nd around the green. If Kokrak gives himself the right angles into these greens, he is going to crush it this week. And I have a feeling that off the tee, he has a little bit better idea of what he's doing around here. Just given the stellar course history he has here. Kokrak came T2 last year, T8, or I'm sorry, in 2019 because we didn't play here last year. T8 in 2018, T58 in 2017, was cut in 2016, became T7 in 2015, as my nose continues to run. Okay, so yeah, Kokrak obviously has the course history that you like to see. He's got the skill set you like to see. I mean, everything's setting up perfectly for him this week. He is my winner. The 22% projected ownership, I mean, if I think the guy's going to win, I'm going to have to roster him anyway, right? But yeah, again, we're here in the chalk zone, so with my Kokrak lineups, just going to make sure that maybe I start him off with like a Patrick Reed, or I find a way to maybe get different down in the SCHWAG bag with one of the lower owned plays down there. Another player that I wanted to pick him to win as well, but I mean, it's just been so damn long since he won an event, and I'm not even really sure if he has the upside to do it anymore. It's Charlie Hoffman. Chuck Hoffman, $8,600 price tag, 19.3% projected ownership, rating out like a god amongst these people. Coming in first in the custom model, 7th on approach, 16th in putting, 17th in opportunities gained, 13th in good drives gained, 14th in the par 3 range, and 9th around the green. I mean, this is like, as far as models where I've looked at six statistics or more, this might be the best I've seen someone rate out. I mean, his worst rating in this field is in the opportunities gained category, where he rates 17th in this field over the last 12 measured rounds. So Hoffman breaking the model. I mean, he is a model darling this week. Just not sure if the upside's there for a victory for him. But certainly everyone else is seeing what I'm seeing in the model. He's coming in at 19.3% projected ownership. The $8,600 price tag is completely fair. I'll be firing up plenty of Hoffman. I love the Hoffman Kokrak combination there at $8,700 and $8,600. Again, you're just going to have to find ways to get different after you slot those guys in, because those guys each will be owned by a fifth of the field respectively. So going to need to find a way to get different after you slot those guys in. If you want to go with a ball striking savant in this pricing range, that's maybe getting a little bit less ownership than Chalk City, you can look to Emiliano Grillo, $8,300 price tag, 13.9% projected ownership. Coming in 8th in the custom model, 5th on approach, 60th in putting, 5th in opportunities gained, 2nd in good drives gained, 75th in that par 3 range, and 133rd around the green. As I mentioned, you're rostering Grillo because he's a great ball striker. You're hoping that he can hit significantly more greens than the rest of the field does, and he is capable of doing that. If he doesn't do that, though, don't expect him to bail you out with the around the green game. So that is the concern with Grillo. That is likely why he's getting less ownership than these other chalky players in this range. But nonetheless, he looks solid enough as a play at that $8,300 price tag that I'll certainly be considering some Emiliano Grillo. Looking a little bit better and for a cheaper price tag, but the ownership's higher, is Chris Kirk, $8,200 price tag, 18.2% projected ownership. Coming in 11th in the custom model, 26th on approach, 12th in putting, 46th in opportunities gained, 1st in good drives gained, 95th in that par 3 range, but 33rd around the green. I just like the fact that Kirk is a better around the green player than Grillo is, so sort of just presents us more outs than Grillo does. Like, if Grillo isn't unbelievable with the approach game, then he's pretty much sunk this week. So I would rather look to Chris Kirk, take the $100 discount, even though the ownership's higher at 18.2%. And I will need to get my runny nose one more time. It's crazy, these allergies. Shit. Ugh. All right. Sorry about that, guys. So that was Chris Kirk, leaving us 3 more mid-shelf plays before we can get down into the SCHWAG bag and I can go take some fucking allergy medicine. Our boy, the Gooch. Taylor Gooch, $8,000 flat, 10.8% projected ownership, coming in 15th in the custom model, 2nd on approach, 47th in putting, 47th in opportunities gained, 43rd in good drives gained, 74th in that par 3 range, and 53rd around the green. Yeah, you're latching on to Gooch at $8,000 flat because of his iron play, and he brings it, right? 2nd in this field in strokes gained approach over the last 12 measured rounds, as I mentioned. Gooch was cut in his only appearance at this event in 2018, which is the concern. But at 10.8% projected ownership, I mean, with all these other players in this pricing range, as I mentioned, being so high owned, going to one of the lower owned players presents a lot of opportunity. Like, I mean, if we get one of those wonky weeks where, I mean, it is golf and anyone's live to miss a cut any week. If we do get one of those wonky weeks where the chalk fails, there's a lot of chalk this week. So if the chalk fails, then a lot of lineups are going to be sunk. So just something to consider. You're getting a lot more leverage on the field by going off of chalk plays this week, which just, presents a little more value than they normally would. These players that are at, around 10% or just under 10%. Like, in a week like this, that's actually getting you quite a bit of leverage against the field. The guy I like a lot when it comes to these events where we're looking at strokes gained approach, good iron play, to give us a lot of upside but be a volatile play typically is Keegan Bradley, $7,900 price tag, 14.3% projected ownership. Keegan could very well miss the cut for you, like in miserable fashion, or he could go on to win this event. Like those are all within, both those are within his reasonable realm of outcomes. Coming in 9th in the custom model, 25th on approach, 65th in putting, 13th in opportunities gained, 41st in good drives gained, 89th in that par 3 range, 200 to 225 yards, and 12th around the green. So Keegan, good player around the green, been very, very good around the green lately, which again, we love to see here, given that we know that plenty of greens are going to be missed this week. So yeah, Keegan Bradley, high upside play always. This week should be no different, presenting high upside, but just be wary that Keegan, volatile player, I should say. Maybe not a volatile guy, but a volatile player. And yeah, he could miss a cut for you, or he could come in that top 5 for you. In the last mid-shelf play, Mr. Lucas Glover, the glove, $7,700 for Glover, 14.1% projected ownership. Coming in 10th in the custom model, 29th on approach, 11th in putting, 2nd in opportunities gained, 23rd in good drives gained, 95th in that par 3 range, and 60th around the green. Would like to see a little bit better around the green numbers for Glover, but when you're getting a ball striker this good down here at $7,700, I mean, 2nd in this field in opportunities gained, I'll take my chances that, he can continue to give himself some good birdie looks and maybe get them to roll in this week. So Glover, $7,700, totally fair price tag, 14.1% projected ownership. I mean, given what, almost everyone else in this mid-shelf is owned at, that's very fair as well. So Lucas Glover looking like a solid play to round out the mid-shelf plays. And that will take us to the SCHWAG bag. And we got a loaded SCHWAG bag this week. We've got 10 SCHWAG bag plays. So let me re-spark, polish off this body armor, make my nose stop running, hopefully. And we're going to dig into these plays who, we got a couple of them that are really low owned in that 3% sort of range. And if you're someone who loads up on these guys that are owned in like the 20%, like the Henleys, the Kokrak's, the Connors, the Hoffmans, you might be someone that wants to dig down into the SCHWAG bag and take a chance on one of these low owned guys. So let me go ahead and spark up and we'll get into it. All right. Into the swag bag. Swag bag plays are under $7,500 in DraftKings pricing. The first swag bag play, and he's been a play of ours for a long time. Played pretty well in the team event actually last week with Justin Suh. It's Doug Ghim, $7,300 price tag, 15.4% projected ownership. Ghim, I don't know why his price tag won't rise. But I mean, hey, if DraftKings is going to keep him down here at $7,300, we are going to play him. Ghim coming in 4th in the custom model, 10th on approach, 146th in putting is of course the concern here for Ghim, but 24th in opportunities gained, 7th in good drives gained, 48th in that par 3 range, and 55th around the green. Doug Ghim's too cheap. Roster him. 15.4% projected ownership. $7,300. It's that simple. The next swag bag play. And this is one of those guys. This is going to be a high risk, high reward guy where if you're playing a lot of chalk in the mid shelf, this is a guy you should take a hard look at. It's Patton Kizzire. $7,200 price tag. 3.4% projected ownership. Coming in 13th in the custom model, 8th on approach, 17th in putting, 38th in opportunities gained, 15th in good drives gained, 41st in that par 3 range, but 111th around the green is the interesting part. And for Patton Kizzire, like, being that bad around the green is not the norm. He was absolutely pathetic at Valero around the green, and actually it held him back from having a monster performance. He came 9th at Valero, gaining 4.9 strokes tee to green, gained 8.1 strokes on approach, but lost 2.8 strokes around the green. That's not the norm for Kizzire. Over his last 5, he's lost an average of 0.3 strokes around the green, and that's being heavily weighted, like Valero's heavily affecting that. Over his last 10, he's actually gained 0.3 strokes around the green. Over his last 20, he's gained 0.2 strokes around the green. So he shouldn't be bleeding strokes around the green. And if he doesn't, everything else looks pretty damn good. So for 3.4% projected ownership, I mean, he's another volatile play. He can certainly miss you a cut. Or he has the upside to give you a top 10, like he did at Valero. So Patton Kizzire, if you're playing a chalky lineup elsewhere, I really like slotting in a puzzle piece, a low-owned puzzle piece that gives you a lot of upside, like a Patton Kizzire. If you're looking for something a little bit safer in that pricing range, I would go to Matthew Nesmith, $7,100 price tag, 7.6% projected ownership. Nesmith coming in 25th in the custom model, 18th on approach, 108th in putting, and 91st in opportunities gained. It's interesting. It's kind of rare that you see such a disparity between strokes gained approach and opportunities gained, but all that means is Nesmith's, hitting greens but not hitting the ball particularly close to the hole. We don't love to see that, but we really just want to make sure that our guys are hitting the greens this week, right? Given that it is the lowest green in regulation percentage on tour, or was in 2019. So Nesmith also good with the driver, 9th in this field in good drives gained, 95th in that par 3 range, but 25th in strokes gained around the green. So, excuse me, a guy, down here at $7,100 in the swag bag, who's 18th in strokes gained approach in this field, 9th in good drives, and 25th around the green. The ball striking really checks out for a price tag this cheap. That's why I mentioned him as a bit of a safer play if you're down here in this pricing range. Another one, like seemingly safer play due to the ball striking prowess here as of late down here in this pricing range. $7,000 flat. We mention him every week now, it feels like. Tom Hoge, 10.9% projected ownership, coming in 2nd in the custom model. 3rd on approach, 94th in putting, so, he's going to need to show up with the flat stick. But 3rd in opportunities gained, 10th in good drives gained, 95th on that par 3 range, whatever, it's a tiebreaker, and 61st around the green, which is about field average. So, I mean, the approach numbers have been unreal. This guy's absolutely stuffing it to pins. So if he can really outpace the field in greens and regulation and continue the stellar approach game that Tom Hoge's been on, he's going to pay off this price tag big time. And he is the one of 2 players down here in the swag bag. No, Ghim also got up there. So one of 3 players down here in the swag bag that I'm going to talk about that got up to double-digit projected ownership. Tom Hoge at 10.9% projected ownership. So other people are seeing it too, but 10.9%, I'm totally fine to pay that for a seemingly, he presents high upside, but he also presents a decently high floor for this price tag and this projected ownership. So I do like Tom Hoge. Another swing for the fence option at this price tag. Tom Lewis, $6,900, 3.1% projected ownership, coming in 19th in the custom model. 23rd on approach, 82nd in putting, 52nd in opportunities gained, 57th in good drives gained, 10th in that par 3 range, and 36th around the green. I mean, Lewis is just. Let's see where Lewis is in the official world golf rankings. Because he's a good European Tour player and someone who I feel like should not be priced down below $7,000. If this ever wants to load. All right, Tom, where are you? Well, he's outside the top 100 for sure. Let's see. So he has slipped for sure. $112. Okay. So he slipped outside the top 100, 112th in the official world golf rankings. $6,900 though. The stats rate out good enough that a player of his caliber can certainly pay off this price tag down here. So Tom Lewis, 3.1% projected ownership. At the same price tag of $6,900, we have James Hahn, 6.9% projected ownership. I'm going to need to get this runny nose one more time. Wonder how that's going to sound in post-production, editing out those sneezes or those nose blows. James Hahn, $6,900, 6.9% projected ownership, coming in 28th in the custom model, 16th on approach, 25th in putting, 15th in opportunities gained, 51st in good drives gained, 130th in that par 3 range, and 101st around the green. So you're going to need Hahn to perform around the green. Hahn, another guy who fits well as a puzzle piece in those lineups where you feel like you're too chalky and you need a high upside, lower owned play. That's James Hahn. He's certainly live to miss the cut. He's also live to give you a top 10. So if I am dipping down into the SCHWAG bag, I want these guys to present me some upside, right? Like if I'm right about them and they do play well, I want that to pay off in spades. I don't want like a, tied for 55 finish. And James Hahn is a guy where if he is playing well, he does present you the upside to get that, top 20, top 10 finish. So Hahn looking solid, $6,900 is a contrarian piece. As a sort of, honestly, a chalk piece down here at this price tag to get up to 11.7% projected ownership. Chase Seifert, $6,600, and has that 11.7% projected ownership. But he looks good, man. 18th in the custom model, coming in 20th on approach, 39th in putting, 14th in opportunities gained, 20th in good drives gained. 132nd in par 3 in that par 3 range, and 72nd around the green. You're not going to get everything. Like, you're not going to player that does everything that you want them to do well down here in this pricing range. But Seifert damn near does check every box, aside from the around the green numbers. Seifert, let me see his course history. Yep, Seifert's making his debut, so hasn't played this event yet. But yeah, the game looks like it's a good fit. Need to see him play a bit better around the green, and let's see what Seifert's been up to lately as far as around the green goes. Yeah, that's just something that he does not do well. Lost 3.1 strokes around the green at RBC Heritage, but prior to that, did gain 1.1 strokes around the green at Valero. Gained 1.7 strokes around the green at the Honda. So, yeah, he can do it. He's capable of gaining strokes around the green, but our expectation would be that he'd probably lose about half a stroke around the green. So, with that being said, at a $6,600 price tag, he's significantly better ball striker than most of these guys down here in this pricing range. So, you're going to have to sort of live with the fact that you're likely not going to get a great around the green performance, but that he can offset that with his ball striking prowess. A guy who I sort of just have to throw on here because he's been hitting the ball well enough that I have to mention him. Roger Sloan, $6,500 price tag, 4.3% projected ownership. Coming in 37th in the custom model, but 15th on approach, and 33rd in good drives gained. That's really why I'm getting behind him at this price tag. He's 134th around the green, so that's your absolutely major concern with Sloan this week. Over his last 5, he's lost an average of 1.2 strokes around the green. And for his career, not a great around the green player either. So you're hoping that he can be at least neutral around the green, and that would pay off huge because this guy's been great on approach. He's been great tee to green, here lately. And in his last 5 events, he has 3 top 25 finishes. Keep in mind, one of those finishes is a 22nd at Corrales Punta Cana, and another one of those is the 22nd at the Puerto Rico Open. Not exactly the strongest fields, opposite field events, but nonetheless, Sloan's been hitting the ball well enough that you could justify rostering him if you wanted to at this $6,500 price tag and 4.3% projected ownership. I'd probably feel a little more comfortable looking to Cameron Percy at the same price tag. Similar ownership projection, 4.5% projected ownership for Percy. Coming in 22nd in the custom model, 17th on approach, 104th in putting, 41st in opportunities gained, 6th in good drives gained, 68th in that par 3 range, and 96th around the green. So on and around the green, Cam Percy is going to absolutely kill you. But if he doesn't, boy, he's the best play down here in the SCHWAG bag if he doesn't. If you can get a performance like at the Players where he gained 0.2 strokes around the green and gained 1.9 strokes putting, you are going to be dancing. He came 29th there at the Players. But I mean, he's been gaining strokes on approach, gaining strokes off the tee, gaining strokes tee to green, on a regular basis at this point. So I really do like Cameron Percy at this $6,500 price tag. Again, you're going to need him to hit more greens than the field. And on top of that, you're going to need him to outperform, his baseline around the green and putting. But at a $6,500 price tag, I'll take the gamble on Cam Percy maybe being neutral around the green and with the putter. And if that happens, then I think we do see a finish similar to the Players, something that's like a top 30, maybe even a top 20 he can find his way into finish, which will certainly pay off at this $6,500 price tag. And the last SCHWAG bag play, all the way down at $6,300, it's Mr. Joseph Bramlett. 3.3% projected ownership for Mr. Bramlett, coming in 21st in the custom model, 24th on approach, 139th in putting, 5th in opportunities gained, 38th in good drives gained, 125th in that par 3 range, and 38th around the green. 24th on approach, 5th in opportunities gained, 38th in good drives gained, and 38th around the green. I mean, if this guy finds anything with the putter, he should at least be able to make a cut and present us enough upside for maybe a top 30. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Had to go out of frame for my tissues. And we're back. All right. What was I saying about Joseph Bramlett? So basically the approach numbers, the opportunities gained, so he's hitting the ball close to the hole. Good drives gained. I mean, he's better than field average in this field. He's better than field average in the around the green statistics. So it really is just the putting that you're concerned about for Bramlett. And that's pretty crazy to say for a guy all the way down at a $6,300 price tag. Maybe doesn't present the most upside. I said, I like playing guys that have high upside, can get you maybe like a top 20 if they do play well. But Bramlett at $6,300, 6,300 sort of that range, maybe 6,300, 6,200, where you're really allowing yourself to make super unique lineups. You're able to shove in some lineups that a lot of other people won't be able to get to just because most people aren't going to dip below Chase Seifert at $6,600. So going to a $6,300 player just allows you so many more combinations that aren't available to, most of the rest of the field. So that's another consideration for Bramlett. Again, be ready to be burned. He is Joseph Bramlett, but if you're playing one of those chalky lineups and you need a way to differentiate it, looking at one of these guys like a Joseph Bramlett is not the worst idea. And with that closes out the 2021 Valspar Championship. HTG crew, make sure you go hit the notification bell on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already. I would suspect you already have. If you have not, please go do that. It helps out so much. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at Hit the Green Podcast. Throw a like to us when we go ahead and post. We post to let you know when the videos and articles have dropped on the website. And yeah, I'm thinking this is going to be a really big week, guys. I mean, you guys know the recipe. If you guys like to do your own research aside from what I do, the recipe this week, guys, find guys who can gain strokes on approach. They hit their irons well and can scramble around the greens. That's the recipe for success this week. And if they can putt on these Bermuda surfaces, that's just a cherry on top. So let's get out there. Let's get some good lineups built, folks. $200K to first and the $15 on DraftKings. I want to see some winners. I want to see some people in my DMs telling me how rich they are. We're going to get it done, HTG crew. Again, May 23rd. Leave that marked off on your calendar. That's the Sunday of the PGA Championship. I got something on my sleeve for y'all, and I can't wait to let you know. And until next week, I'll see you. Peace.